One wise man once said that you shouldn't try to understand women, you should just love them. But how can you love them when money has become the top priority in their lives? According to statistics, cheating has become more common among women than men. Moreover, they don't consider it anything extraordinary. When caught cheating, women often try to blame it on the man or husband, claiming that both partners are always to blame for problems in a relationship, even cheating. I met my future wife, Amber, by chance. I was visiting a friend from college, and we were supposed to work on a project together. At that moment, there was a young woman about our age at his house, his neighbor, who had come to ask his mom to teach her how to cook some complicated dish. After my friend and I finished working on the project, the woman finished cooking, and we all had a nice dinner together. That's how I met my future wife, Amber. I was 20 years old at the time, she was 21. We dated for about a year, and soon after graduating from college, we got married and started living separately from our parents. My parents gifted us my grandmother's apartment after she passed away a month after our wedding. It was tough in the beginning since, after the wedding, we were both looking for good jobs and had practically no money, but we somehow managed. I got a well-paid job that matched my skills and requirements, and my wife also started earning good money at her company. When we felt more stable in our married life, we started thinking about having kids. Amber dreamed of having two, a son and a daughter, but she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to have healthy children because of some health issues. So we started carefully preparing for pregnancy, attending various courses, seeing different doctors, and getting tests done regularly. But right at the moment when, according to doctors and test results, we were both ready, Amber unexpectedly changed her mind about having kids. She explained that we were too young and that we still had time, so it was better not to rush and focus on other goals instead, like improving our living conditions and changing the apartment to a bigger, preferably 3-bedroom one, so there would be enough space for everyone. I agreed with her reasoning. I was just a little surprised that she had changed her mind so suddenly. Soon after that, a series of strange little things happened that raised my suspicions. I noticed that my wife started spending a lot of time on social media. Moreover, she did it on her work laptop, which she password protected, along with her phone, even though I never used them. Some miscommunication started happening. Secrets appeared. It didn't affect our everyday life at all, but it greatly impacted our sex life. My wife often came home late, tired. Sometimes she didn't go to bed at all and worked on her laptop. I didn't like it at all. I decided to talk to her about it openly, but instead of a conversation, I got a scandal with accusations that I didn't respect her dedication to work. Honestly, I still didn't understand why she had started a fight. The truth came out later and had nothing to do with work. Usually, I didn't come home for lunch, but this time I decided to leave work early and agreed to it with my boss. My wife had a day off, so I wanted to surprise her. I bought flowers and wanted to invite her to a restaurant so we could have a calmer, more relaxed conversation, and hopefully it would encourage her to have an honest talk. But when I came home, I immediately saw from the hallway that some sexual activities were happening in the kitchen. Amber and a man, noticing my presence, shuddered and jerked away from each other. They picked up the clothes scattered on the floor and quickly got dressed. Then my wife tells me that the time for an honest conversation has come. I didn't expect such cynicism and cold-blooded tone from my wife, and it made me furious. I threw the bouquet at her and started yelling at her to get out of the apartment with her lover. I don't remember what else I was shouting in a burst of anger and resentment. We stood against each other. The man tried to say something and even calm me down, but I pushed his hand away and punched the stranger twice in the face. But Amber stood up for him and got between us. Turns out my wife was going to leave me for this stranger and said I had no right to beat a citizen of a foreign state. That's when I started listening to his speech and noticed that the man spoke English poorly, with a strong accent. With great difficulty, he started saying that he had loved my wife for a long time and had come to take her with him to Spain. I looked at him appraisingly. He seemed to be over 40 years old and objectively unattractive, although expensively dressed. Clearly another rich man looking for a beautiful young woman. The puzzle in my head quickly came together. Once, when cleaning the apartment and putting away the clean clothes, I found a couple of books in her underwear drawer. One was an English-Spanish phrase book, the other completely in Spanish, and another one was a textbook for learning Spanish from scratch. Back then, I was just surprised, but didn't make much of it. Maybe my wife wanted to learn something new and then travel with me to Spain or another Spanish-speaking country during vacation. Now I understood that all her secret correspondences, stealth, and those foreign language textbooks were all because of her lover. What a fool I was for not realizing it immediately. Turns out they were waiting for me to come back from work, just in the evening, and were going to announce that they had been exchanging letters for about a year already, and had been in a secret relationship for almost a month. My wife said she loved this man very much, that she had met the Spaniard online, that they fell in love, and he had come for her. He was good, kind, polite, well-mannered, chivalrous, naturally better than me in every way. So she was going to go to Spain with him and live in the port city of Malaga. She said all the divorce papers were already prepared and I could sign them right then. She had already put down her signature. She had packed the belongings she needed for the first little while. I could throw out the rest because her lover promised to buy her everything new. They were flying out in 2 weeks. Plane tickets were already purchased. The only thing I managed after that detailed story was to punch that Spaniard in the stomach several times, which made him hastily flee the house. What shocks me is Amber's audacity as she tried to scold me for such behavior. Without saying anything, I grabbed her by the hair and pushed her out onto the street, slamming the door right in front of her nose. Soon after, her packed suitcases went flying as well, because she started yelling that she would call the police if I didn't give them back. I didn't feel any regrets over my behavior. On the contrary, I barely held back from slapping Amber herself in the face. If her lover is so well off, he can get her a hotel room and take her to live with him. I immediately called work and took a week off at my own expense, honestly telling my boss that I was getting a divorce from my wife. He understood everything. I went to the store and used the money I had put aside for the restaurant to buy lots of alcohol and food instead. I drank for 3 days. Most of the time, I just lay at home and did nothing. How could I do anything when my head was occupied with other things? By the end of my time off, I accepted the fact that my marriage had come to an end, although my heart ached from such an ending to my married life. I guess it's still better than endless whoring. I didn't expect such deceit and betrayal from her. My story should have ended there, but as they say, not everything is so fast and simple in life. 3 weeks passed since the moment I kicked out my wife and her lover. I came home from work, quickly ate dinner, and collapsed on the couch with a beer bottle, hoping to watch some TV. Then the doorbell rang. I opened the door. My wife was standing on the threshold of my house. She immediately said that we needed to talk very, very seriously. "Well, come in," I said. "We can talk if we need to." How I gloated, I can't put it into words for you. Turns out this Spaniard had his sights set on not just my wife in America. Aside from her, he had 7 other women. Naturally, he chose only one, and it wasn't my wife at all. He flew off to Spain on those same plane tickets with a 19-year-old girl while he robbed Amber, taking all her money, savings, and expensive jewelry. My wife returned to her mom's and lived with her for a whole week. While she lived there, she thought about me all week and remembered our life together. She realized how much she had lost when she left me and that she simply couldn't live without me. She confessed with fake tears in her eyes that she had made a huge mistake, that she actually loved only me, that she deeply regretted her behavior and asked me to forgive her. She understands that forgiveness won't come right away, but she is ready to work on herself and make every effort to fix her mistakes, that nothing like this will ever happen again. She wants to have kids with me and agrees to all the conditions I set. Of course, she was interested in whether I had signed the divorce papers or not. I said, "Okay, I'll think about it. Come see me in like 3 weeks," and that I had signed the papers, even though I actually hadn't at that point. I said, "Then it's better you leave now because some girls were supposed to come over to my place." You should have seen her face when I mentioned other women. I didn't care that it was a lie. I didn't regret my little prank. When my wife came 3 weeks later, I was serious about the divorce. I had signed all the documents and submitted them to court. Amber seemed to burst at that moment. She said that everything she had done was one huge mistake and that she didn't want to lose me. She threw herself on my neck and cried loudly, without the fake tears this time. I felt sorry for her, but I didn't have any tender feelings left for her. I couldn't forgive the betrayal and deceit I suffered, and I doubt I ever could. When we got divorced, I felt true relief and freedom. As it turned out, after the divorce, my grandmother's apartment remained mine, so I was at ease and enjoyed the solitude for some time. After the divorce, Amber still hung around me and kept asking for forgiveness for her wrongdoing, probably hoping I'd give our relationship another chance, but it didn't happen. She moved back in with her parents, and that's where our communication ended completely. I don't know how she lives now, and I never thought about it. While I'm still young, I can focus on myself and live as I please. That's the story. If you liked it, please support us with a like, as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story. Thank you for being here with us.